Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another live stream. If you are new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we get started on this beautiful January 15th, Thursday, make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top of Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, guys? Good morning, Dr. FP. Wow, I missed a special guest yesterday. Guess what? We got another special guest I'm going to get ready to bring on in just a few here. But we're going to get the good mornings in. We're going to get the quick market analysis in. Actually, we'll just get the good mornings in. Pam, what's up? Dwayne, what's up? What's happening, guys? Welcome to the show. Paul, Mohammed, Slothfather from Kick, Glenn B, Ezal, what's happening? What's happening? Miguel, looks like TraderDane had issues again this morning on metals. Hope no one was affected. Interesting. Have not heard that. Just checking streams across the board here. We're live on YouTube, Kick, and X. We are looking pretty good here. Jess, good morning. A-Deal King, good morning. Carrera, what's up? What's going on, guys? What's going on? Hope you are off to a good start this morning. I am. I'm going to save everything. I'm going to go ahead and bring special guest on. We have special guest TraderDane Jesper on. Welcome to the show, my man. What's happening? What's happening?
Up? Hello, Zach. What's up? Good morning, and good morning, chat, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, we got
happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Happy to have you on. So before I started the live, me and you were talking about the chart that I got up in front of me,
right.
My trade from yesterday. So I'm gonna jump right into that if you don't mind, kind of review this one. So chat, if you know, I was on here trading with Christian, aka Decipher the Algo, yesterday. I'm gonna do a review real quick. I have my chart just completely the same from yesterday. I'm going to get rid of these levels and this IB high and low from yesterday. But this is what we were looking at yesterday. I got long. Here is actually my trade. This was my trade running into the close. So this is a screenshot from yesterday, just so we're clear. You know, I'm not putting up anything crazy. Screenshot from yesterday. I got super duper close to taking the stop out down here. Held my trade. If nothing else for this one, I can display the doing the right thing, even though it doesn't feel really good. Like, this didn't feel really good to hold into drawdown almost to the stop right here. It didn't feel really good to not go stop loss to break even right here. It definitely didn't feel good on the way back down almost to take the stop out. But I know closing for a partial loss, almost near a full loss, almost a break even, wouldn't allow me the potential to come back up and grab some profit. Now, I ended up, I'm going to come back to my actual chart. I ended up, actually, just real quick, take note of where this take profit is, guys. This was the take profit from the live session all day yesterday. So I ended up closing out here before session changeover. As you know, prop accounts, we got to be out right around 3:55 p.m. Eastern, like right into the close. I got out here for $350 profit. Talked a little bit about the frustrating movement we've got out of YM recently, at least for me. Take a look at what this would have been. This is where we traded. This was the high of the pre-market session today. Right into my zone, right into prior day's volume point of control, right into where it would have been to take profit. So, you know, it's not to say, oh, look, my levels are great, I have it all figured out. It's frustrating sometimes, man. The way the market moves, sometimes it just does not give it to us for the session that we're trading. But that's my review from yesterday. Snapped a little bit of a losing streak, which was nice. Certainly not a full winner, but wanted to get that quick review before we hopped into the market today. Frustrating for sure, but if you trade for long enough, you start to build enough discipline, you just decide what you need to do. And for me, I did what I needed to do yesterday, take what the market gave me, and we're on to today. So after that crazy intro, what are you looking at this morning, brother? Maybe you could give us a little bit of an intro, what you trade, how long you've been in the markets, all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. Thanks for the review. I mean, that was sick coming this close to your stop and just pulling through. I mean, I saw that on your IG yesterday. That was just sick. Good job. I would say I'm probably the least experienced trader in the room here, but that is what it is. I've been trading for 6 months.
Gotcha.
I actually opened my first prop account. What was that? October 1st.
Awesome,
So
man.
just
Awesome.
shy of 4 months. And as it happened, Zach, I know you saw that yesterday. I passed my first combine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did. I did.
basically,
W's in the chat, man. W's in the
exactly.
chat. I love to hear it. I love to see it.
Yeah. So I'm trading VWAP. So what I am is currently I'm part of Austin Silver's Black Shirt Club. So
For
that's the
sure.
coaching program he's running.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trading VWAP for about 2 months now.
For sure.
And at this point, like I passed my combine, so I got into an XFA, and I also have a sim funded with top one. So right now, thanks, Chad. Thanks. It is a big win for me. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to just, so there's no activity limit on the XFA. There is an activity limit on the top one. So I'm trying to trade that now. So that's actually going to be, you'll see me. I'm pretty much on opening balance of 50K of both of them. So I'm going to see if I can bag a green day today.
Cool.
But
Nice,
like I
man.
said, I trade ES
Okay.
micros, and with the 50Ks, I'm probably going to trade something like 3 to 5 micros.
Sure. Sure.
But this we can talk about that as well, Zach. But this 7,000 level is it kind of messes with the VWAP, because I think there's a lot of traders out there, trading levels, also psychological levels, and then when you trade VWAP on the side, that might collide, and you see some really weird price action around that.
Yeah, big round psychological number in ES, but
Extremely.
yeah, we'll have to see what we get today. It's been interesting up here around all-time highs. Congrats on passing, man. It's been fun. I'm happy to get somebody on your side of the of the journey on, man. I love to hear from it. I wish I was sharing earlier on, because
Right.
it's provides that perspective, right? That's where a lot of people from my community are watching from, wherever we got people on. Welcome to the show, everybody. If I didn't get to say it this morning, but it's awesome to hear, man, what's working, what's not working, and kind of where you're at and what you're dealing with.
And to be honest, right, it's also, that's the phase where most people fail and then quit, right?
Yep.
So I'm trying to be transparent about that, the bad things, the good things, and just like I think I started on IG in November, so 1 month into my prop trading. So it's really trying to get that day one kind of journey, and I can't say if I'm going to quit 2 years from now, but I hope not. I hope I succeed, right? But
Yep.
it's showing that journey basically through the
Absolutely,
TraderDane.
man. Absolutely. I love to see it.
Yeah.
So watching this, just to give the quick comments on the market for me, guys, coming into today, we did a little bit of review. This is why I'm on the 15-minute chart. I always try to announce everything I got going on, because we get new people on all the time. This is Project X with a top one futures 15K live account, technically a pre-live account. I'm watching YM here, man. I talked about this a lot yesterday. Talked about it after taking a couple losses coming into the year. I really am starting to get hesitant in here, up here around all-time highs, right? This is really zoomed out on the 15-minute chart, and sure, there's a lot of opportunity in here, but I am cautious that we are starting to chop here. We could even see it on the daily. I use a little bit of higher time frame analysis, a lot of higher time frame analysis in my day-to-day trading. I'm more zoomed out in general on the 15-minute. And for me, this is just getting a little bit choppy up here. I like the nice bullish movement out of yesterday. It's what I was trading for. Gun to my head, I would be long into the open. We're trading through that level that I was targeting yesterday. I'm curious here. We're back at this middle ground. We've got a lot of volume point of control here, through the daily sessions. I'm cautious that we find some potential sellers here. If we're going to really at all correct on a higher time frame view on Dow, I think this could be the point that we do it from, if not the top. But as a whole, when we start to get this back and forth, getting involved right here, like dead set in the middle, I think can be dangerous, right? It just starts to, if I notice that, I could start to generate some pretty frustrating stop outs. So I'm going to be pretty patient today off of the open. We're looking at a pretty bullish open for the way that I read this, as far as just looking at yesterday's candle, opening up, cracking it in pre-market, cracking the high in pre-market. We're opening up above yesterday's high, but definitely above value area high, volume point of control, and value area low. Untested volume. No, we did test it. We don't have a naked volume point of control. We came down here right into the open and hit this, but So somewhat bullish looking at yesterday's open, yesterday's candle. Definitely a nice long wick to the downside on the daily, pushing up here. I could see this go either way. I'm not going to take any kind of really aggressive mean reversion trade right off of the open. Sometimes this is what I look for. A pop into the open and then a mean reversion right back into VWAP. Something like this was really, really clean that I missed from last week. But I'm going to stay patient at the open, I think, on this one, guys. I'm going to see what the market's got for us. I'm pretty unbiased up here in this choppy range. I would prefer to be long over short just in general if that higher time frame trend is going to prevail. But I'm curious to see where we go on this one today. So you're trading ES, man, and here we are sitting right around that 7,000 level.
Right.
Pretty bullish in the overnight session, somewhat bullish into the open. I know you said, I think you said you wait for the 15-minute opening range to set.
Right.
Nice. What would be maybe something you would look for after a 15-minute opening range set on?
So what
I
usually do is and right now it's really just looking. I'm on the 1 minute, and then I have the 15-minute for reference. So it's pretty scalpy, but it's what I look for is. I don't do anything before 9:45, right? So I take that 15-minute opening range, and then what we often see on ES is that there will be a first break of the opening range. Not going to chase that. Statistically, it fails more often than not. But then after that, after you get that break and you see price. I mean, if it actually.
Oh, you still with me here? TraderDane. Might have lost my man here. He's paused. Hopefully it's not on my end. Hang on 1 second, guys. Might have lost my man here. I'm gonna try to get him back on the show. I got a pause from his screen. Hopefully my stream is up and running. It does look like it is. Maybe just a little connection issue. But I wanted to hear the rest of that, man. 15-minute opening range play. I'm curious how he's trading this on ES. Watching YM push to the upside here, man. Hang on, chat. Let me throw this in here. Let me make sure I get him another invite so we can hop back on. Hang tight. Someone said must have Verizon. Yeah, man. My wife was dealing with that yesterday. Crazy outages. Oh, the fun of internet. Part of the game, man. Let's see. Anyway, man, popping to the upside here on YM. I was excited to get him on the show, man. It's been fun to get different perspectives. I'm hoping I'm able to get him back on. Obviously, he is early in his trading journey, but making some good progress. Being able to pass his first combine yesterday, really cool to see. And it's what I've been trying to do for this year, man. Get a whole bunch of different perspectives and different types of peeps on the show as well. Like tomorrow, I got Clay from Top One, founder, CEO of Top One Futures, Top One Trader coming on. Less of a trader himself, more of a, but also a trader himself. More of a CEO. So it's been cool. And also, obviously, we got guys that have been trading longer than me coming on the show, which is really cool. We'll see if we can't get my man back in, but I'm watching this pop to the upside, man. This is looking pretty bullish on YM. Looking pretty bullish here on YM, man. Trading right towards that decent round psychological number, 49,600s. I could see a possible test up here. I don't know that I want to step in front of this today. I'm going to have to make a decision on that one. YM green, NQ green, almost 1% off of the open here. ES looking green as well, but let me see. There's my man. We got him back in action here. There we go.
Sorry about that. Got kicked off my internet. I'm in a third world country, so
No, no.
that's what it is.
Yeah. We had. I forgot you're on the other side of the world. We had the chat asking if you have Verizon because a handful of Verizon. Oh, actually, a lot of Verizon. It was a big outage. We're having issues.
Right.
My wife included.
Yeah.
But I'll yeah, you could pick up where you left off. We were talking 15-minute opening range. Not doing anything ahead of that 9:45, which
Exactly.
I like. I definitely don't like getting involved right in the middle of that.
Right.
But yeah, where do you go from there? It's past 9:45 on a day like today. You know,
Right.
what maybe are you looking for?
So for the so I'll have an indicator on that gives me the opening range measured out, and then I'll have the VWAP on. So the session VWAP from 9:30. I'll have the overnight VWAP on. So that's the volume weighted average price, and that's basically what I trade. So let's say there's a breakout on the opening range. I normally don't chase that. I don't know if you caught on to that before, but that's often what happens is it fakes out basically, and then it comes back inside the opening range. But after that, what I'm looking for is interaction with VWAP. So we often see a price bounce. If it's bearish, it'll bounce off the bottom of the VWAP. If bullish, vice versa. And then I'll trade on the VWAP. So I'll enter on the VWAP, and then whatever daily bias there may be based on structure. So if price is sitting above the different VWAPs, I'm going to be bullish, and that's how I enter basically. And then
Gotcha.
yeah.
Simple. I like it, man. I like it.
Yeah.
If you get something that's coming up, we're only 9:40 here, guys. But if you get something that's coming up into that 9:45 and you want to lay it out on your chart, you just let me know.
Yeah.
For me on YM, I'll break down a little bit what I do. It's somewhat it's super simple. I keep my trading incredibly simple. I do run VWAP on my chart because I think it's such a good dynamic level. Anchored VWAPs in the past on ES has been pretty sweet. We had a chat asking some questions. Let me see. What type of VWAP do you use? So I know you had said session VWAP, and then for your anchored VWAPs, where do you run those?
So the primary VWAP is the 930. So that's anchored to 930 New York Open. That's basically where volume is coming in, right? So that would be a stronger signal. And then there's the overnight. So that's from the changeover of day. So that's anchored to the 6 p.m. yesterday. And that will. So what I'm looking for is it's those two that are the primary. Actually, today I'm also running the all-time high VWAP just for further sort of justification of a bullish bias or whatever, because all-time high happened a few days ago, like in ES, right? So there's a level to trade off there. So if I get confluence, if I have price sitting above all of those, then I'm just waiting for price to come to the New York VWAP, and then I'll trade.
Nice, and you'll go right off of the VWAP essentially.
If I can, yeah, right. So I'm also looking at the 1 minute. So there's often a bit of chop, but I will look for a good a good green bar closing above the New York VWAP. So
awesome,
if I can.
I love it, man. Super simple. For those of you guys that aren't aware, I'll map out. VWAP is just a standard indicator. This is the one that I run on my chart. Same deal, session VWAP, standard settings. I just have it colored white. For those of you that are curious about what we're talking about here, we have anchored VWAP in the drawing tools under volume-based, projection volume-based. You can click on that, and essentially what it gives you is exactly what it sounds like, a VWAP anchored to a specific time. So maybe I say, hey, we've got low of day yesterday, 11:45 a.m. in YM. I want to anchor a VWAP to that, right? And I want to calculate volume-weighted average price from that point in time. A lot of times traders will run these from the start of a session or session changeover, like we're talking about right here. I like both of those. I really do. When I was trading ES, I was trading with NYSE start, right into the open on 9:30, off of major highs and lows, maybe news candles, just key points in the markets, all-time highs, right? So yeah, for anybody interested, that's how you would get that on your chart. I'm excited to be speaking alongside Brian Shannon in Tampa, the godfather of anchored VWAP. That'll be really cool. I've got some questions lined up for him personally. I'm going to quiz him a little bit on how that came to be. But and I know
what I told Austin.
Go ahead.
You know what I told him? If I get a payout before March, I'm gonna spend it on a ticket for Tampa. So
There you go. You got you got quite a flight to come over
yeah, I know, yeah.
from from your side of the world for sure. But yeah, it'd be cool for sure. I think
Yeah.
anybody that's interested in VWAP or is primarily using that as their main indicator, I think that's a really cool person to get in front of, right? So yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Hope to see you out at the event.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. Watching this thing on YM, somewhat of what I expected. Not a ton of follow through just yet. It was looking very bullish on that initial push to the upside, but what we often get out of YM, and I kind of find Dow lives in its own world. Like ES and NQ tend to be much more correlated. Those charts look always much more similar. Not always, but in general much more similar. YM seems to just does its own thing. Gotta close this out. I'm getting too many alerts on here. But often we get this really aggressive mean reversion style move. We either pop to the upside or we dump real quick and we come right back towards VWAP. I don't mind trying to leverage that if it doesn't happen too quick into the open, because like you, I'm not a big fan of trading at 9:32 a.m. I just find it's so volatile. It's so wicky. The movements are often fake outs. I don't find a lot of success, and it shows in my data. I just did a big YouTube video on my data in this account for the last like 3 months, and the losing trades, the hit rate in the first 15 minutes of the open is abysmal. It's significantly less than my hit rate, after that. So, it begs the question, like, why do you continue to do something if it's not working as well? So I'm a fan of trying to wait. I do have some stuff that sets up really, really quickly that I'll take if it's hitting a zone, if it's hitting an area. I'm really I've got a lot of conviction in it. But for the most part, I think most traders, and I think most traders do wait. I think most traders would do much better waiting 5, 10, 15 minutes, maybe even 30 to an hour through that crazy volatility. It's not that price is any more or less predictable, like in my humble opinion. It's just we don't know what that volatility is going to look like. You don't know how fast it's going to move right into the open. All that pent up buying and selling pressure that clicks right at 9:30. And if you're in 1-2 minutes in, you're often either oversized or undersized. You're kind of in too quick. So I like that for a 15-minute opening range. And then, like you said, on ES, play into the strengths that you can. But recognizing there's stuff like, it breaking both sides, more frequently than not, which is an interesting one from Edgeful. I look at that quite a bit. Used to be a really strong stat on ES that I was trading for a while. It's probably a year and a half ago. It would break both sides of the opening range significantly more often than not. It was in the high 70s for quite a while. And it was a pretty clean setup that, like, if, for example, we were trending up, mid to high time frames, we came down and broke the low of that 15-minute opening range, I would love to fade that and come right back in, trade across VWAP, back towards the high. But yeah, I think just using anything in too much isolation is a little bit dicey. So
yeah, I guess it also depends on the market context, right? I mean, right now we discussed that before, right? We're at this all-time high, kind of grinding ways, basically, where it fits well. I also spoke about the 7,000 level on ES, right? Whether that fits with this kind of strategy, or maybe a year and a half ago where you were in a different setting, maybe something worked there that doesn't work now, right? So it's always the context as well.
Absolutely.
It's super choppy right now.
Yeah, back and forth, man. For me, 100%. I was talking about that yesterday with Christian, even applying some discretion and utilizing market context, right? I think trading in an area where we've got something like this going on. Maybe we've been selling off day over day over day, breaking prior bar low, not breaking prior bar high, is very different than a big bullish scenario, or even where we're at right now, right? All-time highs where we're chopping back and forth. So, I think it's important for traders to, for anybody listening, I think it's really important to do something consistently day in and day out, right? Run something with some real consistency over and over and over again. and at the same time recognize that the market's not the exact same every day. You've got to apply a little bit of that understanding of what's going on, maybe in the news cycle, maybe where we are in the chart. If it's going to be purely technical, are we trending really aggressively to the upside or downside? Are we chopping around? What does volatility look like just in general? I think it's important for traders to adjust for volatility. I'm in kind of a unique situation here where I'm capped at trading 1 mini, and I know about what my max risk is for the day that I want to take on, and I end up with a really fixed stop loss. It's not a fantastic demonstration of adjusting for volatility, but maybe when I'm able to size up, I'll be able to adjust for that volatility a little bit more. Sometimes I do size down. I'll drop right to micros if I feel that it's moving too fast. I can't get a stop loss where I need to be, but that's the kind of the other layer of technical analysis and creating a system and approach is trying to maintain consistency, but also adjust to really dynamic and ever-changing market conditions. So easier said than done always.
What's your take on risk reward?
Yeah,
how does that fit with the approach?
In general, just like for talking about like negative risk reward or positive risk reward, that type of a deal, or well, I'll give you my overview, yeah. Right? So for me, my trading for the most part, I'm going to enter a trade with a fixed stop loss. Based on that stop loss, no fixed take profit, but based on that stop loss, I want to at least expect and be anticipating the market to move equal to, if not significantly more than the size of that stop loss. So I'm not intentionally going to be entering trades that I think I'm only going to be able to capture half an R on or 3/4 of an R on. As a whole, I find that the relationship to, and I have this was my piece from Tampa last year. I have a whole presentation on it. The relationship to of risk to reward to win rate is unique to every trader, and there's not one right or wrong way to do it. We're all up against the same challenge of creating a positive expectancy based on a combination of win rate and risk to reward, and whatever fits, you and your style is going to be okay. I think it's just important for traders to understand what their average win and loss is and what their average win rate is, and try to understand what that means for a large sample size of trades, and then ask yourself whether or not you're creating a positive expectancy. So for me, in this account, most recent data, what I've been doing live, intraday here on YM, because I do a whole bunch of stuff outside of this, I've really been trading with too high of a win rate and too low of a risk to reward. My average win to average loss is below 1, meaning I have a slightly larger losing trade on average over a decent sample size, but I have a really high win rate. With break evens, it's over the 75 mark. Without break evens, it's still into the low 70s. So, for me, there's nothing wrong with that based on, the combination created a nice positive expectancy. But for me, that's not what I strive for. And I know I know the market has more to give me on the winning trades. So some of the adjustments I'm attempting to make are to balance that out and kind of flip it a little bit, decrease win rate by holding my trades longer, holding all the way to a stop loss or a larger take profit, and then increase that risk to reward, right? Make that winning trade larger than my losing trade by holding those trades longer. But, as a whole, I think it's important for anybody listening on this. It's a good question. I hope I didn't rant for too long. Win rate and risk to reward, there's no right or wrong. You don't need a positive risk to reward in order to make money in the markets. You do not need to make 2 times or 3 times as much as you make on your winning trades versus your losing trades. You just need a combination of win rate and risk to reward that provides an edge, that presents a positive expectancy in the markets, right? A positive profit factor over a large sample size of trades. And the equity curves differ, and there is some changes across that calculation of expectancy when you go really negative risk to reward, like a risk to reward below 1 and a positive win rate versus a really low win rate, positive risk to reward. But there's no right or wrong way to do it, in my humble opinion. At the extremes of that, kind of like at the extremes of everything in trading, at the extremes of time frames, at the extremes of quantity of trades, risk per trade, it gets a little bit dicey. If you're really, really low win rate with a 20-to-1 risk to reward, or you're really, really negative, you're scalping for 10 points and you're risking 200, it gets really, I think, difficult to operate at those extremes. But in the middle, I think traders should ask themselves, what am I doing? What fits my style? What fits my approach? And then does that make sense? Because so many of us are taught you need to make 3 times as much when you're right as when you're wrong. And all of a sudden we go, okay, well, we need to have a fixed risk to reward. And, somebody on YouTube told me this. So I have to have every single one of my trades look like this, 5 to 1.
Let your winners run.
And this can work great. But in general, it might, present too much of a low win rate. So that was a long-winded answer, but for me personally, I'm flexible with my closes. I attempt to make my winners larger than my losers if possible, but I generally will close out on discretion, meaning some of my trades will be a smaller win, right? Yesterday was an example. I held the damn thing all day. At the end of the close, when I have to get out, I have $350 on the in profit for a trade that I was risking $1,000 on. So I'm going to average all of that out, but no fixed risk to reward for me. And I'm not a believer that one way is better than another. I think it just comes down to the individual traders.
And then one of the keys to that, just a comment, because what I've been struggling with, and I think a lot of people do, is that if you want the stats, if you want the statistics on that, you need to execute pretty much the same setup dozens of times, right? You otherwise, if you keep optimizing, keep changing, keep adjusting, then you're messing with your stats, right?
Yep, you are 100%. So the deal is, if you don't run a fixed risk to reward on every single trade, like if you don't enter with a 1-to-1 on every single trade, you're never going to have an exact risk to reward and an exact win rate. If you have something that you do very consistently, even if it's not exact, you're going to generate a really good average, right? Your average win and your average loss and then your average win rate over a large sample size. But you've got to do something consistently enough, or you should do something consistently enough to track the data, find out what's working, and then adjust from there. But it's a great question. It's always such a hot topic. I think that, again, there's no one right or wrong way to do it, and so many traders get so caught up in positive risk reward versus negative risk reward. And something really important to remember, and this is just math, guys. And I've argued with traders about it. I've argued the math. I've gone through a lot. Here's the real answer. A positive risk to reward, meaning setting a 2-to-1 risk to reward, making $200 for every $100 you make in the market. If we assumed random market conditions with no spreads or fees or commissions or swaps, a positive risk to reward does not provide any inherent edge at all. The same way a negative risk to reward doesn't provide any inherent edge at all. We would end break even in completely random market conditions over a large sample size of trades at whatever the natural break-even win rate is for that risk to reward. So if you think in those terms, it takes away this one is better than the other. Now, again, there's a little bit of nuance on the math in there where the expectancy calculation will look different, and there are certain unique benefits and drawbacks to each of those, especially when you go to the extremes. But that initial statement holds true. There's no inherent edge in risk to reward alone. So if you take that out of isolation and you start to think, well, what can I get out of the market? What risk to reward will allow me to increase my natural break-even win rate past into that point where I'm creating a positive expectancy? You can kind of think in terms of, what's going to work best for me? What is actually the market going to do that makes it available? How can I structure my risk? So I know that starts to get a little bit more complicated, but for newer traders out there, I think it's important because so many of them get stuck. Need to make 2-to-1 risk to reward or 3-to-1 risk to reward. It has to be fixed. I need to do X, Y, Z. And
it's dogmatic, basically.
Yeah. So find something that works. Understand that there's no edge in that alone. I think it can be helpful also to think in terms of like what we're naturally predisposed to do. Most traders can't hold their winning trades, right? I'm trying to hold my winning trades longer. Everybody's trying to hold their winning trades longer. So sure, try to challenge yourself in general to do the thing that you know is more difficult. Most traders are going to hold their losing trades way too long, right? So should newer traders come out of the gate after hearing that saying, oh, I could trade a negative risk to reward and it'd be great. I could just clip every probably not, going to the extreme. But find what works for you, but recognize we're all up against that same challenge, right? Increasing past that that negative risk reward. So that was a long-winded answer. Let me ask you, brother, how do you end up on risk to reward? How do you typically trade, when you're looking for a setup?
If you share my screen, I can I'm in a trade
Beautiful.
right now. So I actually placed the trade just now as ES came across the, you see it there, right?
Awesome.
So I'm already flush into drawdown. That's fantastic.
No,
right?
that's all good.
But,
it's all good.
But there's an explanation to my setup here. So I entered on the cross of the blue line here, which is New York VWAP. Can you see my cursor? Yeah. So I entered on that. As I said, after the break of the opening range low there. So my play was basically to aim for the opening range high. So what I do is my profit target will be based on structure often. If I'm trading with nothing to the left of me, it gets a little bit more blurry. So I want to trade scalp basically into structure. And then I also base my stop on structure as well. So I have my stop sitting down, below session lows. And the reason I took this one was because you can see the dotted line down here. That's the overnight. So that's the VWAP anchored to the changeover of day yesterday. So 6 p.m. Eastern yesterday. And the green one down here is the all-time high. So everything kind of lines up. Every price, when I entered at least, was above all these VWAPs. So that's basically my play. The bulls were coming back in from the break of the opening range low.
I like it, man. I like it. Listen, I like the trade. Good explanation. I think it makes sense. I think it's something that you can do consistently enough, and definitely something you can track. Right? We trend to the downside. We come back across that New York anchored VWAP. Pretty clean take profit and stop loss levels. Now it's up to the market, right? We never, unfortunately, know what's going to happen next on any individual trade. So it's, comes down to collecting the data.
And if you look at the 15-minute on the left, it kind of also shows a pretty big down wick, which lends some extra confidence for me to say it's going to continue the overnight trend going up. Maybe I've been a bit early into this one, but that's what it is.
Yeah. No, I like it, man. I appreciate you sharing it. Listen, this is part of the game. It's wins and losses live, right?
Exactly.
Can't not
and live negative risk reward right there.
Yeah. So you're a little bit negative on that one, right? And but I like how you explained that. It's based on structure, right? So do you find that some days you'll be even or positive? It just depends on
definitely depends on the setup, right? I think this one's probably also forced a little bit because I was on stream, right? But I think because it is super choppy out of the open, and if you just look at price from 9:30, it's kind of trending downwards, right? But I was looking at the overall trend, seeing also actually my stop is sitting below the 7,000, so a little bit of a play on price not breaking that level as well. But let's see how it plays out.
Yeah. No, again, I like it, man, and I appreciate the explanation. It's solid. There's trend is an interesting one too, right? You started to say there's a little bit of a trend to the downside off of the open, but there's a little bit of a trend to the upside. Exactly. I used to think traders would say trade with the trend, always trade with the trend. Trend's your friend, and I'd go, okay, which trend? Because I can create, there's an uptrend or downtrend, 100 different ones based on what time frame we're on. The 1 minute trend is up, the 5 minute trend's down, the 15-minute trend's up. Wait for them all to align. Okay, well, which ones are we talking about, right? So it's always interesting when it comes to trend. Trend's very subjective. I like the play. I think in these markets, trying not to have too much of a heavy short bias can certainly be helpful. Especially as we are pushing towards all-time highs. And no, I like the scalpy style trade, man. A little bit of a trend to the downside off the open. Got your 15-minute low in there, swept. We'll see if we can't.
My sizing is also obviously so that I can take that hit, right, if it does tap my stop, right.
So let me ask you this on the risk management side, how many trades are you typically giving yourself per day? Like how many losses or wins would you give yourself per day?
So excluding the tilt days,
yes, really now for the revenge trading days.
So I will not allow myself more than 2 trades. I've actually been practicing that with so I passed the combine yesterday, right? So that going with 25 micros for a $1,500 profit, risking the 2,000 max drawdown, I would still not take more than two in a day, right? So sometimes based on structure, I would pull before the 1,500 profit target. So I would pull for maybe, 800 based on structure, because I could see price stalling. then I would take another trade if a setup presented itself. But after those two, I'm out basically.
Yep. Nice. I like that. I think that makes sense. For me, I'm similar. I'm not. I'm a 1 to 2 max on YM.
Yeah.
Just my setup and the way that I'm risking. Using risk, I should say. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with trading a whole lot more than that. But I think there's definitely the decision fatigue, the mental capital that gets spent during the day.
For sure.
And you got to start to ask yourself, how many trading days do I have where I take 2 losses and then the third one's a win? You know, how many of these are comeback days? So, and what do you maybe, because the chat's always asking, what we're doing for risk management and risk per trade and stuff like that. No one wrong way to do it, but what are you risking per trade and per day on the accounts that you're trading?
So this is basically what you're seeing live there is my first trade on the SIN funded basically. I think I took one before that maybe, but I'm doing 3 micros on this one, and I didn't actually, because I knew the stop was not gonna. So my max risk I would say would be 250.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's about what is that? 15% of the max drawdown, right? Something like that. And then I've got 8 trades on the 50K.
Nice.
Nice. But I will also say I haven't done that before. But if I take 2 losses, next day I'm going to come in size down.
Gotcha.
I'm really serious about the risk management on the funded accounts.
Nice. I like that. I think that's a good balance, not being way too aggressive, not being way too conservative. I think you give yourself quite a few losses there before you're blown out. I don't. Again, I said to start there's no one right or wrong way to do that, right? Like depends on capital, depends on how aggressive or conservative you want to be. If you want to risk the whole account in one trade, go for it. I don't know how long the account's going to last. If you say, hey, you know what, this account is this is a lot of money for me. I'm only going to be able ever to get one of these at a time, maybe one for a month. Maybe risking $100 per trade, $50 per trade, to get started is something that people would do. But I think in general, again, this varies so drastically with win rate and risk to reward. But what I've started to answer people when they're like, hammer me for an answer, I think if you're trading with 10 losses, you have the capital to take 10 losses in your account at a bare minimum, prop account wise, risking 10% of that max loss limit. That's at least a decent starting point where you're not super conservative. You're not never going to make progress in the thing, right? In a 50K account, risking $200, but you're not so damn aggressive where you take 2 or 3 losses and all of a sudden the thing's in a hole, right?
Yeah.
I think 250 is a great starting point as well.
And digging yourself out of that hole can be so painful, right? I had that with the combine as well. So you don't want to. It gives you mental space to size down, and you're trading 1 micro and things like that. But it's such a long journey to get back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, because I was also kind of married to that first challenge there, right? But at some point, you just got to say, well, I need to progress, right?
Yep. No, it's finding the balance, right? And I think if you take a look at that average win rate and average risk to reward, you could use the equity curve simulators. You could get a feel like, am I risking ruin in this account? Like, will I inevitably lose this account? Or am I being so conservative that it's going to take me 50 trades to ever get to a profit target and take a payout, and I'll never lose it? And there's a balance in there for everybody. For the most part, I think most traders when they start out are just way too aggressive. It's just way too much risk, especially in prop accounts. But it's unique. It's unique to everybody, and within their win rate and risk to reward. If you're somebody that has, for example, a 30% win rate, right? I had Tanner on the show who's wildly profitable, does really well, much lower win rate, much higher risk to reward. He can't risk the same amount as somebody with a 75% win rate, and they're traditionally going to be taking, really small wins. They just won't, they have a very different equity curve, very different distribution of wins and losses. So it comes down to that. But I think a great starting point is to say, like, if the account's gone in 4 trades and because you're risking 25% of the account, it's not going to last long. You probably make some good profit, if you hit quickly, but you're going to dig a hole very, very quickly. 8 trades, 10 trades. I think you would have to have a really bad, gnarly losing streak to not at least put some profit in between there and to just bury the account. But you're also in a position to make some, some of those trades count, right? To work towards a profit target.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, man, watching this thing come back down.
You're gonna be taken out now.
part of the game, man. Part of the game. I'm happy to have anybody on taking a win or a loss. Tanner, unfortunately last week lost an account on here. He came on and said he was going to be aggressive with it, but it's part of it, man. I until yesterday I can't remember if I was 3 or 4 back-to-back straight full losses, on my live stream. Before that, it was a beautiful win streak. There's ebbs and flows with this stuff. Exactly. And I think, like, I always try to repeat it as it's happening, whether it's wins or losses. We're faced with this, like, tough paradox in trading where we can have something that presents a really consistent, profitable edge in the long term, right? Yeah. But we do not know, we physically cannot know what will happen on any one next trade, right? Exactly. It's that casino mindset. The roulette table doesn't care whether it's a win or a loss or who hits big or when they clean out. They know they have a small but present edge with those zeros and double zeros on the chart, and as long as the thing spins enough times, they're going to come out on top.
It's that dice roll, right? You roll a dice 100 times, you will see 4 or 5 ones consecutively somewhere inside those 100 samples, right? You will see that. So you need to be able to take that.
Yep. So in the chat, what's going on? A bunch of people said good morning in the chat. What's happening, everybody? Omega, Tundi, FreezeX. Miguel says, for real, just execute the edge no matter the outcome. That's the deal. It's
it's process.
It's process, man. And on a trade by trade basis, and it's one of the reasons, not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons trading is so difficult. We have to come to the market with these two conflicting, belief systems and hold them really true, right? We have to come to the market super confident in our edge and put on a directional trade that says, I'm going to make money if one thing out of these two things that can happen. So you have to have confidence. You have to be ready to lose or make money. But at the same time, in the back of your mind, when it comes to actually letting the thing play out, you also have to hold the belief that I have no idea what's going to happen next. I cannot physically know. It is impossible to know. And not everybody agrees with this. This is more of the, Mark Douglas, Tom Hogarth, there's one algorithm that somebody wrote and controls the whole market. This is the, I don't know what's going to happen next and I don't need to make money. And it's very difficult to hold those two in conjunction. Yeah. But I find what I would watch is I find the best traders held those two. They were extremely arrogantly confident in their approach and their system. And when they put a trade on, and then they were very flexible and open to understand, I think this is going to happen. I think this is a great way to structure risk. I'm putting tens of thousands of dollars on the line for this to go in one direction. But I also, right on the other side of my brain, know I have no idea whether this is going to be a win or loss. And I don't need to make money. I'm going to allow those losses to come. I'm going to allow those wins to come. And it kept them balanced both ways. Same when you're taking a lot of wins. Like, it's so easy to get overconfident, to think, I got it all figured out. I know where the market's going. All of a sudden, what happens? The $250 worth of risk turns into $1,000 the next day. Exactly. And of course, that's the loss. So, it's a really difficult mindset to cultivate, but I reflect on it often. It's something that I really, really, really try to think about so often. And I think, again, what I see is the best traders, they're not phased when they're taking wins. They're not phased when they're taking losses. Miguel says a lot of stoicism.
You get kind of numb, right? It's you got to be indifferent because you executed your process. That's the important part, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. You focus on, just like you said, focus on process. Did I do what I was supposed to do? Did I execute? And then, can I track this and find what's working over a large sample size? Right. One, 2 trades, 3 trades. I would love for that to be able to really give us a lot of feedback. That's not enough. It's just just not enough.
And if it sounds like we've got it all figured out, I mean, I've literally many times had to physically step off the screen and just go away because I'm going to mismanage this trade if I stay here, right? Also, I would probably, if I was just me on my own here in front of the screen, I would have pulled this by now, because you see actually sellers stepping in at the VWAP every time now. But then again, it's sitting on the 7,000, so I'm going to hold on to this and see how it plays out. But it is looking bearish to me.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we're holding you accountable on stream at very least. Let me ask you this. what is your trade? Because again, no one wrong or right way to do this. What does your trade management typically look like? If you're in a trade like this, are you, fixed take profit, fixed stop loss, let it run? Do you allow yourself ability to come in and mess with it or manage it?
So like I don't have a ton of experience, right? So I've been struggling with over managing my trades, which means taking partials, for example, or the good thing about it, I would say, is I often also cut them early if they're in drawdown. So I kind of manage my risk that way, but it just comes down to over management. And the number of times over the last 3 months that I've cut a trade early and then see it hit TP, I mean, I can't even count that anymore. So that's just telling me VWAP is an edge. Trade off of it and leave the shit alone, right? So, I mean, what's going on right now is it should not lead me to pull the trade because my thesis might still be valid. So and like you said before, that confidence, just hold on to that confidence. I executed the process. I saw the break above VWAP. I have all the other VWAPs sitting below. This is bullish.
Yep.
Now I might have my stop a little bit too close or something like that, but then I should be ready to get back in. So that's something I'm struggling with, and that's basically my mentality of just having the confidence to sit with the open P&L, right? I can't actually adjust on stream here because I'm watching stream and not my trading view.
That's good. This is gonna work out. No, I think again, there's no one writer. I love the explanation, man, and I think it's the same thing that so many traders struggle with, right? We are in general so good at holding our losing trades. We're so good at closing our winners too early, right? We are oftentimes too quick to go break even, immediately take risk off. Or if a trade moves back and forth and then comes back to break even, close it right away.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of traders, and what I wish I did earlier on, was trade more of a fixed risk to reward, right? Like
full in, full out.
Yeah, full in, full out, put the trade on, don't touch it, right? Just challenge myself to do that, because at very least, that might not be the best way to manage your trades, right? That might not be the best way to trade for your system, but at very least you collect data. And if every single time at which I was closing a trade out too early, closing it out for a win, closing out for a loss, adding in, taking, you never collect data to say, hey, I should be closing, if I get halfway to my stop loss, I should be holding my trades longer, because you're messing it up every single time, so exactly. I think it also just builds some of that discipline and exercise that muscle of like, I'm putting the trade on, and once I put it on, I'm going to watch this thing go to a take profit or stop loss. I'm going to hold it painfully to the stop loss. I'm going to hold it painfully to the take profit, because sometimes it could be, difficult both ways. But yeah, if you're struggling with it, man, I'd say set that fixed take profit and stop loss, and physically walk away as soon as you feel, like you said, you'll come off the chart, physically walk away as soon as you feel yourself, getting ready to touch it. Like a lot of the major traders, I think it's not Al Brooks. Who was I gonna? Maybe it was Al Brooks. I was gonna go see. Called it the Walmart trade. Put a trade on and go to Walmart. That's what he was doing. He was messing with his trades. So put the trade on and just come back, and you'll see after what happened.
But you know how it goes these days, Zach, right? You got this one with you.
Yeah. Yep. And the alert goes off, and then all of a sudden you're messing with it. Yeah. It's a challenge, man. Trade management is a challenge. Once that P&L starts flashing, it's very difficult. But it's something I struggle with myself. Everybody's always, attempting to improve at, I'd say, maybe not struggle with so much as I would like to improve at it. I manage my trades with no fixed take profit, right? And that allows me a lot of discretion to apply my experience, apply my intuition. And again, I think, like you said, maybe months in is different than, years and years in, where you have a little bit more experience to be able to do that, a little bit more discipline to do that. But even still, I have to ask myself, based on my data, am I holding my trades for long enough? When I go back and review, are 75% of the trades that I close out continuing to move in profit, right? In the direction. I have to ask myself, why am I closing those out? Am I willing to hold on to those longer? Can I accept the downside that some will inevitably come back, So there's always that room for improvement. But for anybody starting out, set the take profit, set the stop loss, and until you can allow it to run, maybe let's say for 10 trades without touching it, you'll never be able to manage it because you can't even do the baseline of not doing anything. So how can we have any input that's going to work if we can't even do something that is asking us to do nothing, you know?
And again, what do you then even know what to do, right? Because you've messed up your trade, so you don't have the data to show what's working and what's not. So it is really about holding on to it.
100%. Super early on, like it's so much about collecting that data, right? And just like we said, if every single time you put a trade on and you close this one out for break even and this one out for half a stop loss and half a take profit, it becomes extremely difficult to find out whether or not you should be holding your trades to 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, whether you need to tighten up on stop loss, whatever it is. You're collecting this really inconsistent data. So you will certainly collect the most data, not touching the trade, at very least not touching the trade. And then, again, I think big benefit, you collect and do something for long enough to know it doesn't work and that you need to change, right? Hey, my stop loss is always too tight. My take profit's too far away. It's too tight. But
I also like what you said before, like at what time am I trading? If I trade the opening range first 15 minutes, what's the stats on that? And if, let's say, I trade the PM session, what are my stats on that? Things like that. That really helps to improve, basically.
Yep, 100%. It comes down to tracking, right? It's not fun. Nobody likes to journal. Nobody likes to do the work behind it. And I think it could be super simple. We can keep it really, really simple. But you have to have something that's tracking what's going on. So you can go back through, and I always repeat it, a little bit more of what's working, a little bit less of what's not. But, look at where those take profit and stop losses are. Look at what time you're trading, all of these things.
I'm reading The Mental Game of Trading at the moment, right? And
really, beautiful. Jared Tendler. It's one of my favorites.
Working on your C game really resonates with me, like taking the worst bit of your performance and trying to eliminate that or bring that up, so your past C game becomes improved, right? So that's something I'm working on at the moment. That's really coming down to the trade management.
Yep. It's a great book. It's one of my favorites. My top 3 are Trading the Zone, Best Loser Wins, and Jared Tendler's.
Best Loser Wins.
Yeah, that's a great one. But no, that one specifically, he's got a couple of really good things in there. But I think it's called the inchworm, right? The inchworm effect.
Right, exactly.
Your A game, B game, C game, and so many of us are always trying to focus on how can we squeeze a little bit more money out of our big winning trades, but we're not focusing on going on tilt. We're not focusing on always closing our winning trades early. Exactly. This really clear risk factor, Achilles heel, and focusing on that first often makes the biggest movement and it allows us to move to that next level. So
I think someone said it well. I can't remember where, but it was like basically just like, stop fucking up.
Yeah,
that's what it is, right? It's as simple as that. If you fuck up less, you're gonna be in profit. You're gonna be profitable. So
focusing on the not doing anything stupid, right? Like
exactly, not do anything stupid.
Just stop doing anything stupid.
One thing, Zach, I just wanted to note, you see on the right there, I have Max 7 going. And that's basically just as a reference point to see how Max 7 are individually performing on the day. That gives me a bit. I mean, I'm not trading NQ, but it still gives me a bit of visibility into the individual, so the big players, right?
Awesome. Yeah, you use a little bit of correlation on the Mag 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, man. I think that's a pretty powerful play as well. I don't use as much correlation. I've got a little bit of order flow that I run on the side, a little bit of book map. For me, I try my best not to add too much in. I'm doing more swing trading, so I'd be lying if I'd say I didn't have Trading View up on the side, and I always have a little view of what's going on any of the stocks that I'm watching.
You swing trade?
I do. I've been swing trading. I've been swing trading much more this year. It's something I'm focusing on the, kind of on the back end. We're always trying to improve and figure out, where we're going to go with things. But yeah, no, Mag 7 can be super helpful. A lot of guys will focus on, what ES, NQ, YM are doing in correlation or lack of correlation, all of these things. So that's awesome. So how are those looking today? They're looking, let me look at your
pretty bullish.
Your chart. Yeah.
I'm actually long in Broadcom. That's the bottom one. I called it Mag 8, so I took Broadcom in as well.
Nice.
But yeah, and I have a long position in that swing trading, which is kind of break even right now. But
nice. Dwayne, guys in the chat, what's going on? We're not reading the chat, but we got good conversation going on. ES and NQ are a chop fest. Yeah, a little
oh, here it
choppy.
goes. Here it pops.
There we go.
We get a donut candle right there.
Pop into the upside here. Let's see if we can't get the break. I'm watching YM is climbing pretty aggressively. I'll
Okay.
come right back to your screen. I'll share mine real quick. YM is really off to the races here, pushed in the upside. I'm curious to see what happens around this area. If I had to widen this out a little bit, this would kind of be my all-encompassing zone. I'm curious to see what happens around this area if we don't push all the way back up towards all-time highs. I don't know that this is something that I'd want to step in front of. I'm still no trade for the morning yet, guys. I don't know that this is something that I'd want to step in front of. I think that we're just chopping here. We got this really big higher time frame movement back and forth. I do also just want to be more cautious trading even from the extremes on the short side than I do the long side. I think if we're going to continue this trend, that would be to the upside. I don't know that I want to short off of here. This would be an interesting level. Obviously up here before all-time highs with a stop outside would be an interesting level. But I also try to ask myself, what am I shooting for? A huge reversal? Like, is my thesis that this is not going to hold now and we just are going to come up here, tap this high, not close out up here at all, and we're going to come all the way back down, close out down here or down here? Not really. So this is just... I figured I was going to be patient off the open. I was trying to temper myself. This is just not super ideal. I think there's an opportunity. If I had to look at something in here, there's an opportunity for something like this, just to come back down to this area of high volume.
It just hit TP on my side.
I took you off before the TP. Damn it. We got to win. We got to win on chat. Awesome, man. W's in the chat. So this is one of the first trades in the funded account.
It is. I was up
there
70 bucks beforehand. Now I'm up. What am I up? You can actually see that on screen. I think I'm up 160 now.
Nice, man. W's in the chat on the longs on ES. Love to see it, man. Sorry to take it off before the take profit.
No problem, man. No problem. You can see it.
Listen, man. I think I'll let you talk through the trade.
Sure.
You took the trade on this one. You explained the reasons why above some all-time high anchor VWAPs, higher time frame anchor VWAPs, a break above 930.
Yeah. So I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see on the 15-minute over here. What I did is I anchored an all-time high VWAP. That's the green line. That was the all-time high from Tuesday. That's just a reference point really, because that it's a lot of volume inside of that it doesn't necessarily dictate what's going to happen today. But then when the confluence with the dotted line, which is the overnight from the changeover of day yesterday, and then with the blue line, which is my key level, which is the New York, the 930 VWAP. And I think someone said it in the chat. It's true. It's complete chop fest out of the open here. I mean, we have 5 minutes to the initial balance, right? It's going to be really tight. But my play was we saw opening range set, then we saw a break below opening range, back inside the range, breaking back above the New York VWAP, and then I entered. So on the close of that candle, that was my entry. It's actually super mechanical, and I like that, right? Because it takes some of the emotions out of it. I was probably a little premature on the entry because you saw that dip actually going below the opening range low about 10-15 minutes later. Maybe there's something about that 7,000 level also holding up as support. I don't know, but it came back up, and as soon as we got up and back to interacting with the blue line, I was more confident. If I had been closer to it and not talking, I would probably maybe have scaled in actually on that confirmation of going back above the New York VWAP.
Nice. And a good hold, man, right? Like tough in drawdown. We talked
almost like yours yesterday.
Yeah, right? Like close to the stop out. But,
Exactly.
Again, I think once you start to collect data, first off, you got to collect the data in the first place. Then once you start to collect data, if you find that like this trade, you see a lot of things play out like this where, you take a good trade setup, you maybe have to take a little bit of heat on it, but your stop is in a clean invalidation point. And if that breaks, it often just, you're dead wrong and it continues lower. But if you just hang on to the thing, and and not go stop loss to break even like you could have gone multiple times, or maybe it goes down, halfway to the stop and then back up and you close it out, and then of course it continues to your take profit. If you're finding that trade management, like we talked about, is just not helping, sit on your hands, just be hands off, collect the data, take the wins, take the losses, and then adjust. So nice, dude. Love to see it. Awesome win.
It's awesome. It's like I think it went one tick above my take profit, but it might come back above now.
So the take profit was right at opening range high at the 930 high.
Yeah, that was my target. So again, trading into structure, right? We might see it go higher, but the thing about trading the VWAP is it's scalping, right? So if I see it come back down to VWAP and I get confirmation that we're still fairly bullish, I'll do it again. And I might trade the same small range. Maybe I'll put the stop at opening range low or just below that, because we're more bullish. We haven't seen price go below the opening range for 20 minutes now. But let's see, right? I can scalp a couple of times in a day, right?
For sure. Yeah. It's awesome, man. It's awesome. I'd love to see it. But yeah, if I'm reading a couple messages. If you guys, bunch of W's, that's awesome. If you guys are not trading this, I would be a little bit cautious. It is getting pretty choppy right now.
Agree.
I'm in short for NQ for the last while. It's like reading a barcode. Yeah, I had a few trades, size small for today. It's gross now on NQ. Yeah, I'm taking a look. We're watching ES on your chart there. Definitely choppy now. Very choppy back and forth. YM always living in its own world. It did get this pop to the upside, but nothing too exciting here, especially within this big range.
Zach, what kept you out on this one?
For me, I really just did not have a clean setup. If this did not happen, I'll give kind of maybe a frame of reference on what I could have had today. If this didn't happen in the overnight session, maybe we had a little bit different of an Asia London where we drifted. I would have been pretty inclined to look short right in here. Since we got this test, a pullback down to VWAP right into this area of high volume before we opened up, and we really have just opened and moved in one direction. This is the 15-minute. We got a little bit of pullback in here, like that was a pretty big wick. But overall, we've really just opened and moved in one direction. This really didn't present anything for me. I don't trade a continuation off of the open on YM. I just find it to be much more mean reverting, and just my style of trading is really off of an extreme, off of a key level, a much more aggressive entry. So, for me on a pullback down, maybe on something long, looking long on a pullback down, but this just really didn't present anything for me. Definitely not a short up here as we're breaking above this high for a move back down. Even if I wanted something like that, this structure sucks for me. But even if I wanted something like that, it's just not a good risk structure. I would be trading right back into something area that we already tested, we already traded through. For a short on this, I'd be doing something completely wrong if I was short anywhere in here. I would say
have the balls to do a short on it to play the reversion like that.
I think this area and above could be a potential area for a short for me, but it's not something really that's going to be valid for me, again, because we're in this choppy range. We're in this big choppy back and forth range, and I would be creating a thesis to say I think we're going to come back down to VWAP, back down to this area at best. Like that's I think at best. If I say, I think we're going to sell off from up here, is that really my thesis for today, that we are going to put a nice long wick to the downside within this zone, and then all of a sudden at 11 or 12 a.m. we're going to turn from near the highs and come down here or break this low? No, that's not what I'd be looking at. So at the best, I think the thesis for me would be from the extreme of this range back down to the middle, kind of similar to what you're doing on lower time frames there. But I just really don't like this. And as a whole, in general, I would, like yesterday, I traded from the low end of this range. I'd much rather be long in this type of a market, what we've seen. I would just prefer to be long as we're sitting right near all-time highs than I would be trying to fade all-time highs. It's not that there's not opportunity in here, but I
had 2 wins on shorts yesterday on ES because it was just so clean, right?
Yep. Absolutely. When they come, they come. I want to take them fearlessly. But on something like this, breaking to the upside, we're above prior day high. We've got a bullish open. We retest VWAP, then we push to the upside. maybe the weakness of NQ and ES carry over. We're just going to chop back and forth a little bit, and there's an opportunity. So again, I'll be looking into this area here, right into this zone here. I think
and
we're
then
like,
what's your signal for then going one way or the other? What's the confirmation?
Really aggressive with very little confirmation, or waiting for any kind of candlestick structure at the zone. Yep, like really aggressive at the zone. If anything, I'll watch a little bit of bookmap over on my right hand side, which I can't share right now because I've got too many screens up. But I'll watch a little bit of bookmap. Maybe I'll watch some orders being taken at that zone. I'll usually give it a split second. I don't always jump right in at an area. But it is an aggressive entry where I'm not going to wait for, let's say we come up to this area and I'm going to take a short, which today I don't think I am. But let's say we come up here, I'm not going to wait for a head and shoulders or a double top and then a break of a low. I'm not going to wait for some candlestick pattern to form. I'm really going to be watching the 15-minute chart and watching the candle print itself, just watching price action itself, starting to pause up there. Maybe it's 1 to 2 minutes that I'm going to wait before jumping in really aggressively. And, again, I don't think there's anything better or worse about that for me. I think, like, let's say, this is not the thesis exactly, but let's say, like, this would be my entry if I didn't wait for confirmation. My trade would look like this. One might say, hey, by not waiting for any kind of, 1 minute or 5 minute structure coming back out, that's a lower probability trade. I would say, sure, maybe it is. If you wait for, but maybe I get a better risk to reward. Maybe I get a better entry point. Yeah. If you wait for confirmation and you say, hey, if I wait for the zone to be hit and then I wait for a 5 minute, bullish engulfing reversal candle, that's great. Maybe that is a higher probability trade. Yeah. That's what you get out of the trade. It's
detrimental to your risk reward. It really is, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So like everything in trading, there's a double-edged sword, like as always. So for me, I just find what works best for my style. Maybe I'm just predisposed. If I'm going to take really aggressive entries on YM, I try to make them with the higher time frame trend, right? And there's a saying from Tom Hogard and some of these guys. Who was the gentleman who passed? Dr. David Paul, right? This was his saying. I like to fade the short-term trend in favor of the long-term trend. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. Fading the short-term trend in favor of the long-term trend. So on a day like this where I missed an opportunity, right? Let's come back over here. This is January 12th. We've been pushing higher. Overall, we're very, very bullish. We actually went up and made a fresh high in here. We're actually trending to the upside right in here. I'm fading the short-term trend in favor of the long-term trend. So I'm going to be buying into selling pressure down into a zone, fading the short-term trend in favor of the long-term trend, which is to the upside.
Buyers are in charge, basically.
So that's kind of what I do on YM. And then as a whole, it is just a mean reversion play. So there's an argument to say it's a reversal trade, cut and clear. I won't argue that. For the most part, I'm not buying breakouts and selling breakouts. I'd say a little bit of intuition, and later into the session after the open, if we are breaking and moving in one direction with a lot of strength, maybe I do look for a continuation style trade. But it's almost always on a pullback, a really aggressive pullback. So I'm still fading the short-term trend in favor of the long-term trend, but maybe it's for that day. So I hope that's a decent explanation on.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, this is interesting overall. YM not looking too bad. Again, higher time frame, kind of choppy. Yeah, man, on the low time frames, that's dicey on NQ. That's
ES is back at my TP now, so there is a bit of pressure upwards. It's actually popping now, not popping, but it's going across the opening range high.
Yep. Yeah, overall bullish on this, right? This is the 1 minute. If we zoom out, just look at the the moderate overnight, right? We've held through Asia and London. We pulled back down towards VWAP, tested some structure here. Very choppy that you had to sit through before the win. But it's surely making the case to the upside. I think sure if you're looking for the sells today, this is the 15-minute zoomed out. Maybe you look for a reversion, but I think you would really be fading strength. Coming after yesterday. So
and again, I can't get my mind off the 7,000. We'll be fading 9 points and then you'll hit this psychological level of buyers or sellers or whatever's going to happen around that level. I don't know.
Yep.
But,
Yep. No, it's been a key level for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, big round psychological numbers, right, across
Exactly.
almost all financial instruments, but certainly a 7,000 level on a ES contract like that. You know, that's a big one, and you could see the price action that we've chopped around and really struggled to get above. Right, we danced above it a couple times here.
I was looking back at 6,000. That was back in May or June or something like that. It sat there for weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
Yep. That's often how it goes. It's funny how that stuff works. Something so simple like as a big round number, right?
Yeah.
You know, but it's hard.
An opportunity.
Yeah, I could see. You know, again, risk to reward on this would be tough finding a long on here, but I could see this trying to push. Right, today maybe is the day that these are just really choppy off the open. We don't get a nasty pullback, and we really start to just grind higher. We get through some of the news that we've had this week. I could see that into the end of the week. Oftentimes Thursday, Friday, we do get a little bit of that just grindy movement. So, you know, if I'm trading this and I had to take something, which I definitely don't, gun to my head, I'd probably be long, but I don't know where you get a stop loss in here now, right?
That's like buying the all-time high right there.
Yeah, you know, you're buying the breakout. You know, what's a clean invalidation point? If you say, well, I want to be out here, right? If we pull back, probably not, right? This would be normal pullback where we just continue. So, you know, I think an invalidation point would have to be like all the way in here. And even that, if you're an aggressive VWAP trader, right, that might be a beautiful buying point. You know, as soon as we
you should wait for that.
Yeah, you should probably be waiting for that. So,
and then you would also have the structure above you to trade into.
Yep, to trade right back towards in here. So yeah, be waiting patient on this one. But yeah, this has been awesome, man. I'll get ready to wrap it up. You got to hop on, take a win. Let me go back to your screen. Tell the people where they could find you. I had a banner up here. Are you on YouTube as well?
I'm not on YouTube yet, so I'm just getting started. I was planning to have my TraderDane t-shirt on, but it hasn't arrived in the mail yet. But you can find me on TraderDane at IG. That's basically my main platform, and it is basically about, you know, documenting that journey, the ups and downs of that journey from the very beginning. I have to say, I'm also we met through the Top One family, right? So I'm affiliated with Top One Futures, and trying to mix that all up with what's it like being a beginner trader starting out like this, but also trying to treat the trading like a business, because it is quite serious to me. I am, let's say, I'm pretty sick of my 9 to 5, so I'm trying to sort of hustle on the side to not just have trading, but have that business around trading. So that's what I dream about. So you can follow that journey on IG.
Absolutely.
For now.
Absolutely. Chat, you guys heard it. TraderDane on IG. It's TraderDane _ on IG. Appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks
we'll
for having
run
me.
it again. Have you back on in a couple of weeks. We'll get
for
an
sure.
update on the journey. I'd love to have you on, you know, over the next few months, right? And just get updates. You'll kind of hear what's going on. I'm sure there'll be plenty of good, plenty of bad, and that's it's awesome that you're sharing the thing. I think that's really cool, man. So thanks again for coming on, man. And
thanks for having me.
We'll see
Have a great day.
Time. All right, guys, that was a fun session, really fun session. We got a W in the chat. Obviously, TraderDane sharing his journey from the beginning. He's been in the markets for about 6 months. He passed. He's doing well. Passed a combine yesterday. Just took his first win on that funded account today. But if you want to follow somebody sharing their journey from the beginning, the good and the bad, obviously he's on here trading live with the damn account in front of you guys. You're going to see it, right? You're going to see it. So I wish, honestly, that I shared from even earlier on than I did. I think it's just cool to see the progression. You're going to watch, guys like that do really well early on. You're going to watch them, have the painful struggle that so many of us have. And I think it's not only relatable, but provides a lot of perspective. So awesome to have him on. Make sure you go and follow him. For me, guys, I'm still no trade, but I think you know what time we're coming into, chat. Glenn B, thanks for the chat. Absolutely. W Dane, good luck, man. Successful journey. Dwayne, absolutely. You guys are awesome. Jay, what's going on? Getting in this. Bookmaps a mess on NQ. Glad I'm done. Yeah, this is dicey, guys. I'm going to mark up my IB, but let's go ahead and set a like goal because we're going to get ready for a giveaway. If you don't know, we give away instant funded accounts almost every day on the show. Let's see what we got on YouTube. You guys are pretty light today. on likes, that's for sure. But let's see if we can run this up to, I'll make it somewhat easy today. Sometimes we do 100, sometimes we do 80. Go ahead and run this bad boy up to 60 likes, and we will get a giveaway rolling at 60 likes. I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to grab some water. Not going anywhere just yet. Mark up initial balance. We'll see what we get out of this. Maybe, I don't know that I want to fade this thing today, man. Kind of just that slow movement. Definitely glad I wasn't on NQ or ES. This was looking, I'm sorry, I got to come back to this real quick. This was one of the ugliest sessions I've seen to start on NQ. It's still going right back. I mean, this is not VWAP. I got to zoom out. But that is ugly, guys. If you're trading this, on low time frames, as I know so many of you are, here is your 930 open. Here's your high. Here's your low. This could be an account killer, man. So I just want to say it before I even got up to grab a drink. Be really cautious, man. I know so many of you guys trade NQ. This happens across all indices. Maybe you're a range trader. This is exactly what you need. Oftentimes you're not, and we're popped to the upside after a pullback. You're buying up here for the breakout. What do? We come right back down, stop everybody out. You guys are selling the lows. What do? We come back up, stop everybody out. So be cautious on this, man. This can really, be a tough trade. ES looking a little bit cleaner to the upside. With TraderDane getting, where'd my VWAP go? With TraderDane getting his W, but even still, this can be pretty dicey, guys. So I'd be cautious on this. Weird. Why did my VWAP go away? There we go. I'd be cautious. I'd be cautious for sure, guys. So let me go ahead and grab a drink, and I'll be right back with you guys. Go ahead, smash the like button on YouTube or wherever you're at, and we will get ready for a giveaway as well. Chatty McChat. Let's see what we got going on, guys. Let's see what we got going on. Can I throw the giveaway thing on as well? There we go. Giveaway coming up at, what I said 60. This says 80, but we got a giveaway coming up from Top 1 Futures. Be getting somebody funded. Yeah, man. Choppy day. Not as bad out of YM here, but I'd be cautious if you're trading this. I really would be cautious. These days come along, and I almost always see the frustrating L's that people are taking on socials when I hop on. Obviously not everybody shares their losses. Far more of them just share their wins. Almost nobody shares their losses, as we know. But if we catch a day where it's super duper choppy like this, on ES and YM and NQ, I almost always know that I'm going to see a lot of message, my community, other people's communities. I blew an account today. I broke all my rules today. And it's just that frustrating movement where we don't do what we normally do. We don't move. We just kind of consolidate and shop around. So, be cautious of that. Be aware of that. If you haven't already, taking losses or whatever it is, I would definitely be cautious of that, guys. So, but in the meantime, yeah, I'm curious to see. We got close to testing up here. We tested the low end just a little bit, not even really. If I had to take a short, it would be off of something like this. I'm certainly not taking it now. I don't. I really didn't want this. Even if we came right into here, this would be my position. At best, I'm stopped right above all-time highs, which is not a terrible spot for a move back down in here, back down towards VWAP, I think, at the best, maybe a little bit of a crack lower. But I don't know that I would want that. Certainly nothing in here. I'd really be doing something wrong if I was short before any of this. Obviously wouldn't have paid. But I think at very best around that 750s, 760s level for a short. But again, I've been trying to do a better job, and something that I noticed that if I spend just more time zooming out, I just tend to trade better. I have better entries. I have better exits. What is my thesis here? This is what I wanted yesterday. This is really what I wanted yesterday. This is, a frustrating movement. We talked about that. I showed you guys my trade from yesterday. I showed you where it would have been hit right here into pre-market. I can't swing trade in the on the U.S. indices in instant funded accounts. Otherwise, I would. I'm at that point now where I just hold my stuff for a really, really long period of time. I'd hold it even longer if I could. But this is what I wanted yesterday, right? Off of these lows, back into this this big choppy range that we've been putting in here. And now what? We're trading in the middle of it, right? I've measured this out a couple times. We oftentimes forget what we look like on the daily, right? Like what does this look super great to anybody? This is what we've been doing since we pushed in here off of the beginning of the year. Does this look beautiful to anybody? This is very choppy. There's certainly opportunity in between all of this, but we are not moving directionally. We have now been in this let's come all the way up to the top. This is when we really entered this range. We are on our 10th day here, right? 8th bar of trading days in here. So I want to be cautious in the middle of this. I really want to be cautious in the middle of this. You can see it on the 15. Yeah, I'll have an alert set on TradingView up here, but I don't know that I think that we just do this. Okay, well now we've already pulled back. So what's my thesis? I catch the top of the move and then we just immediately turn and trend to the downside. So probably going to be pretty light on the trading for me today, but we're going to get somebody funded. We had an awesome guest on today. We'll have some fun running some duck races. Let's see what we got. See what you guys are saying. NQ, let's go. Don't trade Asia. What did you guys have going on? You were talking in here. Tilted, Blue 100. Nate, come on, man. Come on, Nate. Knock it off, bro. Knock it off. And you have no excuse, man. You've got lockout. You're on Project X. You got lockout. Set the lockout, man. I have 2 backups. I'll be back to a 5-stack, 2 XFAs were payout eligible, just low balance around 2K. The other 3 were 1 or 1,000 away from payouts. Nate, dude, you are obviously a bad day for me. Listen, I'm not gonna beat you up, but I'm gonna talk about it because you always share in here. I literally sold the middle of this range. That's tough. Sorry to hear it, Nate. PA is nasty. Bad day for me. Started with breaking rules, trading Asia, taking losses, and bringing that shit with me into this morning. Yeah. SHIT day. Nate, listen, man. First off, don't beat yourself up too much. But second off, you know what you need to do, man. You know what you need to do. You know the stove is hot. You've been down this road a half a dozen times, man. It's up to you to decide, just how many times you need to go down it before you stop going down it. I don't say that from a place of like, I didn't go down it 1,000 times myself. Probably far longer than most. I did, man. I did. But I promise you, you don't have to keep going down the road. You don't have to. Number one, lock your... So here's what I would do. Obviously, we don't have the discipline. You can trade. You can manage risk. You can have good entries. You can have good exits. You're able to create a positive... All that stuff is great. The discipline to not trade during specific times of the day and the discipline to not keep trading into the ground are 2 things that we're struggling with here, obviously, right? Number one, what I would do, use the lockout feature. Go directly to the lockout feature. You're on Top Step. You're on Project X. Lock yourself out every single day. And if you don't lock yourself out, you're acknowledging that, you know, and this is for everybody listening. You're acknowledging that, you know, you're going to allow yourself to break your rules, and that's just going on tilt from the beginning. So lock yourself out every single day at the market open for a specific amount of time until you're ready to start trading. If trading Asia is not in your rules, lock yourself out. There's absolutely no reason to do it. And also at the beginning of every single trading day, before you even have time to look at the market or think of anything, go right into the settings and set personal daily loss limit and set it to liquidate and lock you out. Now, you could still go on tilt and take a bunch of dumbass trades and hit a personal daily loss limit every single day, but at very least, you know what your worst case scenario is, and you know you're done after that. It doesn't sound like an insanely big blow up, like a lot more of what we see. But man, use those tools. Start to use those tools, and then past that, because there will come a day where you're not able to use those tools, and you're on a live account where you're going to just have to decide, to have that discipline, to have confidence in your strategy and your approach, to have patience. We talked about it a lot yesterday in Discord, man. And I'm sorry that you had a tough day, and I don't want to. I'm not here to beat you up or anything like that, man. But you know exactly what you need to do. You know exactly what you need to do. It just comes down to doing it. And it's not to say that you haven't had badass, insane results. For those that don't know, Nate's been here. He's taken max payouts from prop firm accounts now. It's part of the learning experience, but don't be. Also, I'll say this: don't be influenced and swayed by a lot of the guys that you see that are sim farming, right? That are, that seemingly are like good traders that are big with prop firms, and they continually have these huge red days, and they call it tilt, or they call it part of the game, or part of the. That's part of, churning accounts. That's part of sim farming, right? You're trading with a very negative risk to reward, negative, you're risking the entire account every day. That's part of that journey. But if the goal is to not do that, it shouldn't be part of your journey. Take on a lot of risk, take on as much risk as you want, accept that on the front end, and then when that day comes, you don't go, I went on tilt and blew my accounts, I had a bad day. You go, no, I fully expected that this was going to come. This is going to happen every single month. I'm going to blow all of my accounts when I inevitably trade all the way from every single green day being profitable into loss, and it's not tilt. So there's also that piece, which I think is important. So Nate, I appreciate you, man, sharing as always. You know what you need to do. Lock yourself out every single day at the beginning of the session. Set it and forget it. Lock yourself out first for Asia, but also lock out your risk settings every single day. You have the safety net. We literally have the safety net now with prop firms. So use it or don't use it. But man, I appreciate you sharing as always, man. It's a step back, but it's nothing you bounce right back from. But bounce back from it, man, and decide to do the right thing. Decide to make that that tough choice. Appreciate it. I know I'm not even sweating it. Yeah, just feeling shitty and pissed myself. Absolutely. Yeah, guys, I think here's another thing. Think about this. Can I show this? Hang on one second. Let me see if I could pull this up, because I actually took screenshots. Hang on one second. No, you know what? I'm not going to share it, but listen, there's something else going on. And I talk about this a little bit. There's something else going on for those of you guys that are watching, everybody on social media and stuff, right? The guys that put up big prop firm payouts, really big prop firm payouts for the majority are really aggressive with prop firms, right? Meaning they're risking ruin very quickly. They go through a lot of accounts. There's a lot of money behind their trading. But there's something else that I'm starting to see, and this is what I'm going to talk about. There's this half-ass transparency, right? Where these guys are really aggressive, and they'll show all of the winning days. They'll show that really beautiful green P&L where it's green, green, green. It's green for 3 weeks. And then inevitably, there's one red day of $100,000 of loss, right? But instead of talking about what they're actually doing and talking about why that happens, they're saying it's a tilt day. And they're saying, look at how good I was trading. Look at how good my system and approach was up until this one point, and that shouldn't happen because I went on tilt. And that's not true. Whether they know it or not, and 90% are going to know it, that's not true. That is risking the entire account trading to a green day or blowing all of your accounts until you blow all your accounts, which inevitably will come. And I commend those guys because most of the people just stop posting after the big red day. They just post the green and they go to a new account and they just post the green. I commend those guys for showing it, but I do wish they would say that it's not tilt, right? And it's part of the journey, because that's not part of the journey. Blowing up all of your accounts is not part of being a professional trader. It's not part of executing well and managing risk. Will there be setbacks? Ooh, we got some volatility. Will there be setbacks? Will there be mistakes made? Can you go on tilt and lose accounts? Sure, for sure. But that's not a normal weekly and monthly, piece of a consistent trader. What's happening there is the natural result of, trading with a very negative risk to reward, and essentially risking ruin every single day and creating a very, very positive win rate until you realize that ruin, right? So again, maybe that's what you want to do, and I'm not knocking doing that, but I think it creates a bad message, and I think it creates this image of like, well, these guys that do really, really well also blow up once or twice a month and lose all of their accounts, 100 prop firm accounts, and $500,000 of sim capital, of sim, profit, and that's okay for me to do. No, that's not okay for you to do unless you're sim farming and churning accounts, and that's your whole game. So just think about that. Keep that in the back of your mind. I know some of this stuff gets a little far out there, but guys, temper what you see with social media. It's always been like this, right? Before it was everybody just editing accounts, and photoshopping shit. The only thing you could watch nowadays, unfortunately, is what we're doing right here, which is live trading. Watch the stuff play out over and over and over and over and over again in real time over a long period of time. Stops, entries, targets. Anything else is, is just not worth anything. But especially when you see things that seem too good to be true and then are explained in these, odd ways. They're too good to be true, and they're explained in these odd ways for a reason. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there because I'm starting to see more of it. And it's like now the guys are not only, they're sharing the wins and the losses, but they're not talking about what they're doing, and they're not sharing the truth behind the wins and the losses, right? So, I think it's again, I'm not going to be the angel and the saving grace. I'm not holier than thou, right? There's a game to be played with prop firms. There's being more aggressive with props. I do something similar, right? We don't trade them all the same way that we trade with live accounts, but I try to put out the reality of trading. I try to talk about like, what actually goes on behind the trading. And, if there's like, tilt and stuff that's going on and blowing up, you'll hear about it from me. If I'm risking ruin on my account every single day, full port, no stop loss, and I'm scalping for $1,000 until I inevitably blow the account, I'm going to tell you that I'm doing that, right? When I went back to sim accounts, after, earlier this year, after losing a 7-pack, I told you I was going to be really aggressive. I told you I was going to trade with a really aggressive risk of ruin. I would quickly build up buffer, and on the way, I would lose accounts doing that, right? I try to talk about that. So anyway, for whatever that's worth. But, don't think that every other week blowing up all of your trading capital is normal. That's not consistent trading. That's like sim farming, churning and burning, and ripping through prop accounts. Which again, if you want to do that, that's fine. But don't be dissuaded or create a bad unrealistic expectation as to like what should be happening, right? Because then eventually you're in a live account where there's no reason. Why am I talking about this? Eventually, if you put your money in a live account, you've created this habit of it's okay eventually to lose everything, and there's no reset button in a live account. You're going back to McDonald's, if that happens. So, think about that. Think about that, guys. I think that could be helpful to understand. All right. Now that we got through that. Let's see. We got 60 likes on stream. Let's run it, Chatty McChat. Chat. Guys, we are going to get ready. Sorry to yell. Guys, everybody listen up. We're going to get ready to drop a form in the 100% free trading Discord. If you're not in the Discord, here is the link. Make sure you hop in right now. Duck race coming. The duck race is coming. If you're not in the Discord, that's where the forum's going to be. Forum's going to be there in about 2 minutes once I get the actual forum up and running. Oh, I just saw a note. Another really important note. Everybody listen up. This is an important one. Not the deal. Not any of the stuff on the promo. Like we put all that aside. Oh, shoot. Project X accounts are going away. Project X accounts are done with Top 1 Futures coming this Monday. After Monday, this coming week, you will no longer be able to purchase Project X accounts with Top 1 Futures. If you don't know and you've been living under a rock, Project X is going away for all prop firms. The platform that I'm trading on here with you guys is going away for all prop firms this year. It will be gone for everybody except for Top Step, who may or may not own it. So if you are somebody that doesn't care about coming over to Tradeovate and NinjaTrader, which I think you probably should, because there's been so many issues with Project X. But if you're somebody that that wants to get in on a Project X account before they go away, they are done on Monday. Now is your chance. Right? Now is your chance. So code RDF, 40% off. You can copy trade up to you can copy trade up to 10 of these bad boys. If you want to check it out, link is about to be in the chat again. Right here, and I will pin this one to the top. Code RDF gets you the deal. Let me pin it. Let me pin it. So yeah, that's going away. It's going away on Monday. Don't sleep if you want one. But now, in the meantime, for today on this stream, link is live in Discord. We're going to give away an instant funded account from Top 1 Futures. Shout out Top 1 Futures for this one. Here we go. Code RDF for Top 1 Futures. This is for a 50K Ignite instant funded account for Top 1 Futures. Go ahead and get the form filled out. It is in the main chat in the Discord. Link is in the chat. If you're not in the Discord, 100% free. No course, no VIP, no mentorship, none of that stuff. You got to be in the live stream to win it. So we're going to run a duck race for this one. You got to be here to win it. We're going to pick a winner in about 5 minutes. Give you guys about 5 minutes to get the form filled out. That's what we got. That's what we got today. Appreciate you guys hopping on. As always, man, it's been fun to bring more and more traders on. It's been awesome to get some new perspectives. Tomorrow we have, do I have the graphic up here? Tomorrow we have Clay from Top 1 Futures hopping on stream, founder, CEO, one of the founders and one of the, I don't know if he's just a founder or I don't know these guys' titles, but one of the main guys from Top 1 Futures, one of the decision makers, the shot callers from Top 1 Futures will be on stream with me tomorrow. Been really cool to get those guys as well as other traders on the show. It's been super fun. So if you probably don't want to miss that one, man. Probably don't want to miss that one. But outside of that, watching NQ and ES start to put some green pressure in here, pushed in the upside. YM is doing the same. Yeah, man, I don't know that I want this. I don't think I want this, guys. I don't think I want this. I'm going to share this. Yeah, here's the opportunity, right? We'll see how my zones hold up. This is a fresh one for today. Here's the dead set. Let's say, let's try to be accurate. Ooh, look, we would have had an even better entry. That would be the dead set middle of this zone. Just a hair lower. That would be dead set middle of the zone. I'm not taking this trade, but I'm just going to frame it out with you guys. My average 200 or so, just under 200 point stop loss, somewhere up there, right below right above all-time highs, back down to this zone, back down to VWAP, back down to multiple volume-weighted, volume points of controls from prior sessions. That's what this would look like. I don't know that I want this today, man. I think we could just easily kind of, do one of these and hang out up here and just kind of close up here. I just don't think there's a great opportunity for this. I don't think that there's a beautiful opportunity even for this, where we're going to get a really aggressive movement. Sure, we could completely turn this bad boy around, come back down to the low end of the range. If I had to take a trade, this is it. I might wait for a little bit more of a push in here and try this, but this would be right from the middle of this zone that I've drawn, right from the middle of this area of high volume, back down. It's not a off the open mean reversion trade that I like better. It's into the open after we're cracking initial balance high to the upside. I don't like it nearly as much, which I will mark as we are waiting to get the giveaway rolling. Remember, guys, Forum is live. I'm going to give you another couple minutes. Forum is live in Discord. Gonna mark up my IB high and low. Yeah, man. So this is what we're looking at for IB high and low. Shout out to Edgeful. Stats from Edgeful while I'm giving you guys a couple minutes to get this form filled out, which we see. Let's see. Got a bunch of responses rolling in. Remember, guys, don't fill the form out more than one time. If you fill the form out more than once, I'm going to ban you from everything. But I'm not going to yell at everybody. I'm only going to say it once. It should be obvious. Don't spam it. If you spam it, you're going to get banned from not only my stuff, my giveaways, you're going to get banned from the prop firm as well. So if you make your bed, get ready to sleep in it. So just a quick one, man. Initial balance high and low. We'll talk about this real quick because I've been talking about it a lot more, man. I don't know that I want to fade this. There's a strong stat behind this. I'll tell you why I wouldn't mind fading it as much today. Let's see if I can pull up the Edgeful stats on here. They actually updated their platform, at least the way that it looks. It's looking really cool this morning. Maybe you guys noticed it as well. I'm going to share this. So Edgeful is a data provider. They are a provider of statistics for a bunch of different instruments in the financial markets. Right here, we can look at the statistics around initial balance. Just to come back over, initial balance is the first 1 hour opening range. This is the initial balance high. This is the initial balance low. I am able to, looking at this report right here, take a look and see what percent of the days over the last however many days I want to look at, for 6 months, for example, a year, 2 years, whatever it is, how often do we break one side of the initial balance? Meaning if we break the high like we did today, how likely are we how unlikely are we to come back down and break the low, right? How often do we only break one side? How often do we break both sides, right? As you can see from the stats, 72% of the time over the last year. You can even look for like 2 years, for example, a ton of data on this thing. And then you can hone it in and say, I want to know what's happening over the last like 6 months. 72% of the days, almost 3/4 of the time, if we break one side, we don't come back down or up to break that other side. It's only happening 22% of the time, less than a quarter of the time. You know, again, you might say, well, I want a more recent view. Give me the last 6 months. It's even stronger. We are not often breaking both sides of that initial balance, right? If you want to check out Edgeful, I'm going to throw the link in the chat for you guys. Trying to get you guys all of the tools that you may or may not want to use. You can check out Edgeful for free. It's a 7-day free trial to use this. You get all of the reports for YM, NQ, ES, stock market, crypto, tons of different stuff. But to show you exactly what this is, exactly what this is showing us based on today, right? About 3/4 of the days, that this has happened, where we've broken one side, because there are days where we break no sides, we have not come back down and break the other side. Over the last 6 months, only less than 17% of the time have we broken one side and came back down and break the other side, right? So I want to be really cautious, number one, fading this move in general, but I really want to be cautious targeting a double break, because that is something that just does not happen often, right? You could find this in back testing. You could find this on your own. I think Edgeful breaks it down and makes it really simple. Now, a reason I wouldn't be so upset taking this trade is because I could generate a positive risk to reward, right? A nice R multiple that is, green for me without having to come back down and break this. In fact, I could get something decent coming back down towards the 50% mark of this initial balance, right? So that to me is not as bad, but I do want to understand, hey, if I'm getting short after a break of the high or the low and I'm targeting the other side, I'm targeting something, I'm trading for something to happen that is very infrequent. It's not that it doesn't happen. It's not that you can't do that and create a positive win rate and expectancy, maybe a positive expectancy, but a win rate being very green would be tough. It's just something that doesn't happen often. So you might want to trade for things that are going to happen more often than not, so long as you can structure risk in a way that makes sense for you. So if you want to check out Edgeful, because again, I've been talking about a lot of stuff from these data providers, from the stats. If you want to check it out, that link gets you 7 days free to the platform where you can check everything out yourself. Again, here's what it looks like. You could check things out like 15-minute opening range, right? We were talking about the opening range. You could check out the orb, right? What percent of the time do we break out from the orb? How far do we traditionally move on ES or NQ if we break the orb, right? You can get an average for that. How often are we breaking both sides? Based on which side gets put in first and second, which side is more likely to break first? These are all objective statistics that you can read and understand. Again, this is the same stuff that we look for in backtesting, right? If one thing happens, how often does one other thing happen, right? If nothing else, using any strategy, any approach, this can give you some added confidence, some added confluence, or maybe a warning that what you're doing may not be occurring very often in the markets, and you want to exercise some caution doing that. So now that we've got all of that done, if you want to check out Edgeful again, link is in the chat. We are getting ready to run the ducks. Getting ready to run the ducks. Let's go ahead and clip this form. I left it on too long, and I could see the scammers and the spammers filled some extra out. I could see multiple people. To the one person that filled it out multiple times, that I could tell you filled it out multiple times, I'm going to ban you from everything I possibly can and send all of your emails over to Top One to hopefully get you banned. But, for anybody else that's on here, just don't worry. Those guys aren't getting a whole bunch of extra entries. Now. Let me go ahead and get the ducks ready. We'll see who's getting funded today. Shout out Top One Futures. Again, if you guys want to check Top One Futures out, link is pinned in the chat as well. Remember, guys, also, I'm partnered and affiliated, right? I stand to make money. I can't be unbiased if I stand to make money. So do your own research, make your own decisions, do your own research on Edgeful, on Bookmap, on Top One Futures, on any of the stuff that I am using. Important for you to do that. Always do your own research and make your own decisions. I think that is extremely important. But now we're going to get somebody funded. Let's get 5 minutes on the clock. Let's get the names in the duck row, whatever we call this. Ducks in a row. You guys are funny. Let's see. Filtering out for the guys that filled it out 47,000 times. Let's try to do that. Give me a second, guys. La, da, 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 da. Almost there, almost there. Sorry. Try not to delay this, but try not to get the guys that filled it out multiple times extra giveaways. Even if they win, they won't get it. But we're going to try not to have that happen. Dope, dope, dope. Daniel, obviously, you didn't fill it out multiple times. Cool. Cool. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and run it. Let's go ahead and run the Ducks. No. Oh, damn it. Sorry, guys. Bear with me for a second. We'll watch the market while this happens. I'm trying to get the duck race filled out. I don't know why this thing is jacked up today. Hang on. We're gonna get somebody funded. I'll tell you that much. We're getting somebody funded today. All right. Let's see. Cool. That looks pretty good right there. Nice. Okay. Ducks are in a row. 5 minutes on the clock. We have somebody getting ready to get funded here today. Shout out Top One Futures. We got double ducks in a row here. Look at this. Go ahead and run this bad boy. Good luck, everybody. Remember, you got to be on the live stream for a chance to win this one. You got to be on here to win it. Got to be in it to win it, as the kids say. Good luck to everybody. Let's see who's got it today. And show that banner. If you guys don't win today, if you missed the giveaway form, we give away accounts almost every day on these live streams. Straight to funded accounts. No purchase necessary, 100% free. And remember, I know we had a bunch of people hopping on late. Obviously, the views are climbing every time we do giveaways. Remember, sometimes I do them first thing in the morning. We did one on Tuesday that was first thing in the morning. If you only hop on here about 11 o'clock, you're only going to catch some of them. I'm going to start mixing it up. I'm giving you guys that are on here right now a little bit of a fair warning. We're probably going to see more a little bit earlier, like as soon as I hop on stream, just to give you guys the heads up. Try to reward people that are on here, man. Try to limit the crazy stuff. But let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got today. We'll see what this trade that I didn't take gives today. Right from the middle of the zone for a little bit of a reversion. I'm not in this one. I was tempted on it, but I'm not going to sit through this one. Not going to be my play today. If I had to take something, that would be it. 5 minutes. That's right. We're giving everybody the chance to win, man. We're going to be unbiased on the Ducks. Let's see. Remember, if you missed this one today, I'm going to throw the Discord in the chat in both streams. You got to be in the 100% free Discord to get the form. There's no course, no VIP. It's free 99 here on YouTube, Kick, and X. Form's getting dropped in that Discord. If you missed it today, maybe you can catch it tomorrow. I don't know. Tomorrow's Friday. We're going to have Clay. Supposed to have Clay from Top One Futures on here for some giveaways, some conversation on prop firms, some live trading. I see someone says somebody on here for doesn't see their duck. We got mad ducks on here, man. Half you guys are hitting stop losses already. Your duck's in here. He's just already stopped out. You can only see like 20 of them on the screen, so if you filled the form out, you got a duck in here. Oh, unless you filled it out multiple times, in which case, I hope you step on a Lego barefoot. Can you raid Luna after the stream? Does that mean just telling everybody to go and streaming their stream? What actually is a stream raid? Somebody actually let me know. I think it's when another streamer streams somebody else's stream. Like if I physically went to YouTube and I showed somebody else's stream, and then all of my streamers go in their chat and join their stream and say what's up. I think that's what that is, but I'm not exactly sure. All right, 30 seconds to go. My girlfriend asked what the sound was for my laptop. Quacks all the way around. You have to have the quacks on very loud. They make the ducks go faster. 20 seconds to go. Let's see. Again, this is for a Top 1 Futures live account, instant funded. I repeat this stuff because we have people hop on and go, what the hell is going on the live trading stream? There's ducks on screen. That's all we could see. We give out some accounts. We have some fun. Big Frank, Abid, Chris, Starboy. This is a tight pack, man. No breakout ducks here. Dr. AK. Who we got on this one? Ham Tony 1. What the Ham Tony 1 is this? I don't know. Maybe that's actually a name. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but let me just double check on this one. See who this is. I think I know who this is from Discord, but we're going to have to see. Are you in the chat? Remember, you have to be in the live stream chat to claim the win. I don't know who this is. Taking a look. Hold on. Nobody go anywhere. Remember, nobody go anywhere. You got to be in the chat to win this thing. This person's name in the chat, in the YouTube chat, should be the same name that's on this duck right here. I'm going to start the clock. You got... I'm going to give you 2 minutes to claim this one. 2 minutes to claim this one. Oh, there he is on YouTube. We got a W in chat. There he is on YouTube. Hang on one second. We got W's in the chat. Where are we at, man? Where are we at? W's in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Appreciate you hopping on and catching the win on this one. Guys, if you didn't win today, remember we run these almost every damn day here on the live stream. You probably don't want to miss tomorrow. Sometimes I give hints. I'm giving you guys the hint right now. You probably do. All right, duck. Come on. Stop quacking. You probably don't want to miss tomorrow. I think we got a pretty good opportunity to do more than one giveaway. You're going to have to be on here for a chance to win it. Let me go ahead and go back to sharing this screen. No trade for me, guys, on this live session. We had TraderDane on, took the W. If I had to take something, it'd be short from off of here. I don't really like this as a setup. I don't know that we flip today bearish. We come all the way back through. Feels like we could just kind of grind and drift higher. If I had to take something, if I'm in anything after this live session, man, this is it. This would be it right here. Targeting a move back down around VWAP. This would be around where my take profit would go. Stop loss outside of the highs. So I always try to frame the trade that I could potentially be looking at, even if I'm not grabbing it on a live session with you guys. This is what I would be looking at for a trade. You know, just to see if we hang out up here, maybe we consolidate for a little bit longer. Gives me a little bit added confidence to take something like this. But for right now, I'm just I'm hanging tight. So appreciate you guys hopping on. Thanks for being here. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts. And the affiliate and partnership disclaimer. This is I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Thanks for being here, guys. Hope you have an awesome rest of the trading day. W's in the chat for the man who won the account. W's in the chat for TraderDane. See you guys tomorrow here, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Thanks again.